Hey, what's happening, guys? Everything is finally wired up in the amplifier, and I've even made decals for the front, so it's looking pretty good. And I think we are ready to test it. So I've got a meter here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through the wiring diagram and make sure that our grounds are all grounded and everything is copacetic that way before we plug it in. Make sure our signals are going where the signals are supposed to go. And hopefully everything will work out, and then we can plug it in, test the voltages without the tubes, and then we'll test the voltages with the tubes. And if all that goes well, we'll plug it into a speaker. And yeah, if I can get my leads to stay in here. Okay. So the first thing I want to test is what I would consider to be the most important thing when we're working with AC voltages, and that's the ground. So I'm going to put one lead here, touch the chassis. Hope you can hear that. That's a good ground. Then I also want to check my grounding rail. So that's good. We've got ground. Now, the next thing I want to check is the jumpers, these dashed lines, to make sure that they are all reading okie dokie. So the first one is right here. That one's good. And the next one is over here. That's good. And the next one is between these two resistors here. How well you guys can see in there. No, those don't go together. Okay, so this first one here goes over to pin 6 on the output transformer. So from here, we should go to here. Where's it here? There we go. And the next one goes to pin 6 on our other output transformer. Or output tube, rather. Come on. That's good. And then this guy up here should meet up down here at our voltage dropping resistor. That's good. And then we need to test our signals. They need to come out of here. Somewhere. There we go. So we've got signal. And finally, I want to test this guy here, who should be connected to this one over here. And they are. So all of my underboard jumpers are good. All of my grounds seem to be good. So the next thing I want to test are my voltages. Let me get set up for that. All right, well, it's never been plugged in or turned on before. So you're here with me while we do it. I'm just going to tilt you up here a little bit so you can see. A little nervous to do this. Okay. She's plugged in. So, next thing we need to do is turn it on. And I am not touching it yet. Okay, our light is lit. You can see that there. And now I'm just waiting a couple seconds. Sniffing. Not really smelling anything, which is good. Let's bring in the meter here. Some light on the subject. And see if we can't check our high voltage. Wow, that's over 750 volts. Try that again. Oh, I'm on DC voltage. Duh. So it's going over. Now we should be able to check between here and here. There we go. 400 volts on one side, 400 volts on the other side. That's good. Next, we're going to check our filament voltage right here. It's supposed to be 6.3, but it's going to be unloaded, so it's going to be a bit higher. We might be seeing 7.5. Come on. So let's put that down to there's 60 volts. Seven and a half. Now what I want to do is I just want to come down here and test it and make sure that we still have our filament voltage all the way through. That's good. How about here? Good. So we got our filament voltage there and there. And then the other one we need to test is our 5-volt filament for the rectifier tube. There's extreme high voltage in here, and that is why I am being quite careful. Give me a second to find a better way in. All right, let's see if I can get on those yellow wires here without causing too much of a mess. There we go, 5.96 volts. And again, it's unloaded, so it is going to be lower than we would expect. So, I'm going to shut it off now too. Everything tests out good so far. Next step is we try it with the tubes. We're going to take that into Studio 1A, put it on the bench so we can use the Variac for that. All right, let's do that next. All right, so it's the next day and we've moved back into Hope It Don't Blow Up Studios. And now it's time to test the DC voltages. And we're going to test them down along the bottom here at all those points. So to do that, first thing we need to do is put some tubes in. We'll start with the rectifier. That is the 5Y3S. And it's keyed. You can see the little key there. So hopefully I've wired everything right. And I can get it to go in. Come on. Oh boy. Doesn't really want to go in there. Boy. Huh. That's odd. Well, it just took more force than I was expecting it to. Alright, then we'll put in the preamp tubes, the 12AX7s. Put that in there. And we're going to put the shields on them. Yeah, that's in there. Okay. So we're not going to put the power tubes in just yet. Alright. So then, over here, we have set up our variac and a multimeter. It's set for AC voltage. And of course we're going to have lights reflecting in it because, you know, that's the way it goes when you're trying setting up making a video. So we make sure everything is off, and it is. Alright, plug her in, and I'm going to bring it up to about 70 volts on the variac. And I'm just looking, making sure everything seems copacetic. It does. Alright, here we go, power it up. She's lit, we'll give her a few seconds. And I just want to check first the voltage on the filaments. Now it's going to be low, of course, because I'm only putting 70 volts in here, but just want to make sure we're getting voltage, and we are. Good. Okay. So we'll take it up to about 120 volts. And we'll have another look at her. Getting 6.7 on the filament. Okay. Alright. We will put in the power tube. Let me shut this guy off. And hook up a speaker. There's the speaker cabinet we're going to use. That's a Fender 1x12. The specs on it right there. Using a Celestion GP1280, closed back, 80 watts RMS, and 8 ohms impedance. Alright, as you can see, all the tubes are now in, and we will hook up the speaker. Now I just want to get something to prop that a little bit in the back there. Of course I'm making a mess, because that's how it goes. There we go. Alright, I've got the variac back down at about 70 volts. All of our controls set down for 0, and our multimeter is now set for, yeah, let's put it down here to 600 volts DC. What we're going to be testing now is DC, so we got the clippity clip here. Just need to find a good spot to bite on. Alright. So, power. Yeah, I know you can't really see it because we're only at 70 volts there, but she's lit. Just looking to make sure nothing untoward is happening. I'm smelling. I don't smell anything. Alright, I'm going to bring the B plus on now. I can see the filaments are lit. And we're going to test our first voltage point, which should be around 22 volts. I'm using the high voltage rule of only one hand. This hand, it goes behind my back. 18.5. All right. Next one should be about 380. All right, that's a little low, but remember our voltage is low. Next one should be 320, 340. Okay. Our next point should be about 250. Next point should be about 20 volts. I can get her on there. That seems quite low. And this one should be about 5 volts. Or 53, I'm sorry. Okay. Then we should be at 198, somewhere in that area. 160-ish. I said it should be about 1.4. 1. Next one should be about 125. Okay, that one is high. Another 125. Again high. And this should be about 2 volts or so. Okay, so voltage test out good. Well, close enough to good. Shut these guys off and let it cool down for a few. I have set the variac for our local household voltage, which is about 122 volts. So we're good there. Now we're going to find out if this thing makes any noise. Okay, I think we've got everything ready. Tubes are all in. I better turn the power on. We'll power it up here. Let it warm up for a few minutes. Well, not really a few minutes, a few seconds. I'm wearing me a guitar here. This is the Fender Vintera 1950s reissued Telecaster. Beautiful guitar. One of my absolute favorites. Alright, make sure everything's all the way down. Power that up. Turn up the volume. Which one am I in? I'm an instrument. Oh, I hear a little hum. You guys hear a little hum? Let's see if there's any sound with that hum. Turn it up a little bit more. She works. Let's turn up the tone control, see if that makes a difference. Turn it down, see if that makes any difference. Yeah, that does make some difference. Alright, let's balance the tone control about halfway. Crank our volume up a little bit. Got a nice little bit of a break up there, a little growl. Let's try the other channel. Now, channel seems to be coming on a little bit earlier. Not bad. Just darken that up a little bit there. I like it. So, next thing, last thing, is we have to fit it into a cabinet, and we'll have ourselves basically a $2,000 amplifier for total cost here, including the cabinet and everything, about $350. That's pretty cool if you ask me. Alright? Well, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Feel free to comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Big thanks to all the patrons. Big thanks to you guys for watching. That's it. I'm out. I'm going to go play my telly some more. Peace. I want to thank you all for watching and spending time with me today. A community like this is something that we can all be very proud of. So again, thank you very much for all your support of Learn Electronics. Please feel free to check out the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask, and really helps keep the channel alive. We also have an Amazon shop where you can buy most of the items that you see on here, and there's a link to it down below.